Hi everybody, thanks for watching Rock and Recovery. Today's topic is going to be RCOs.
What's an RCO?
I'm so glad you asked. An RCO is a recovery community organization. Ta-da!
Ta-da!
Who'da thunk, right?
Who'da thunk?
So we had the opportunity to go to a training on building an RCO from the ground up. How did you think that went?
I think it went great. I think that there were a lot of questions raised, and I walked away feeling very eager to the chocolates get it to me. Feeling very eager to take the next steps in redirecting our RCO. Yeah. I know I used your word too.
Yeah, you know what? That's cool. And for those of us that, are a little uncertain as to what RCO means, Recovery Community Organization, how the heck could that benefit, our area? What does an RCO do?
Great question. So the Greater Monroe RCO, which has been going on for quite some time now, is looking to kind of redirect itself, re-engage certain members of our community, and it's something that I think would really benefit the Greater Monroe area. I think that getting a bunch of people together from various backgrounds, different organizations, different grassroots, and getting them all together in one room and saying, what can we do together, instead of, what are you doing and you doing and you doing, like, separately, which is great. Like, keep doing that.
Yeah.
But how can we come together and, like, push for policies to change? Can we push for legislation? Using our voices united together to make real change happen and get more resources in this area. Like, we need a following. We need people to do that. So.
Yeah. Another thing that just came to my mind is that when you get everybody that's available in our community, all of the local resources together, that's a good way to see what's missing.
Yeah.
Right? So what are we missing here in Monroe County? That would be a good thing to be answered by having everybody at the table. Would you agree?
I totally agree. Because we think from our own perspectives and, like, what we're doing in terms of our own organization, like, oh, this is what I'm passionate about and this is what's missing. But we don't necessarily hear from somebody else in their background and their niche of fighting this epidemic, what's missing to them.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, so an RCO is not like a 12-step meeting.
No.
Right? And it's not like a recovery meeting or something where you go and somebody lectures you about addiction or something medical. It's nothing like that. This is a place where different organizations get together to say what they're doing, to share their information and resources so they can better help our community, right?
And not just organizations, but family members impacted by addiction, and people in recovery from addiction that aren't necessarily affiliated with an organization, and allies and supporters of recovery. So I'd say the entire community should be at an RCO meeting.
Everybody stop what you're doing right now.
I'd argue that everyone within the Monroe County area should cancel all their plans and come to the next meeting. But seriously.
Are you supplying cookies? That's what I want to know.
For thousands of people, probably not.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think that it is an ingenious way to get people into the room, to communicate what their needs are, and it's a good way to start us working together. Because a lot of times the changes that we see in different communities is due to the voices, right? Nobody's going to change anything unless you see that there's a problem, right?
And it can't be the same voices. It's got to be a diverse group, and it's got to be different voices.
Yeah. You know what? And I think that that's really huge too.
Yeah.
So the different voices, as we've learned, okay, and it's more, like the information is more available now, the person who's addicted to drugs isn't the stereotypical guy in the box around the corner, you know, in the alleyway, who's, you know, homeless and has nothing. That's only a small part of what addiction looks like, right? We've learned that there's people who are struggling with addiction issues who live in huge mansions in the suburbs, right? Who live on a farm, right? It affects every area of our community,
Yeah.
right? Regardless of how much money you have or where you live. So I think that that's really important. Yeah. So we've learned that. But what about the recovery resources for that, right? What does somebody in recovery look like?
Good question.
Good question. Well, I know what one person looks like in recovery. That would be me.
And me.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think like having the faces of like everybody's voice who's been through addiction at the table and people who are now in recovery coming from different backgrounds, having them at the table as well gives us like a vast amount of information to tap into, right? To see what would have helped you more. What could have been better? What could have made it easier? What could have helped your transformation along the way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's cool. So besides people in recovery, you said that an RCO could be attended by other community members too.
All community
Oh,
members.
Now, why would they care?
I mean, they don't have to, but they should because people are dying. I think there's power in numbers. I think there's big power in numbers. And I think that for those who maybe haven't been directly touched by addiction, it's a good opportunity for the rest of us to educate them when they come to the table and expose the truth about what substance use does and what recovery does too. Because substance use and addiction have a domino effect on family members and community members and the community as a whole, but so does recovery. And I think that if we're able to educate them and educate people who might be new to what an RCO is or new to the recovery community in general, I think that's good.
Yes, and just to add on that, the addiction issue that we're facing right now is affecting every single person, whether you realize it or not. It is. It affects our economy. It affects the use of our police officers, our medical facilities. It affects everything, even just from a money point of view. You know, if you're concerned about your taxes, it affects you, right? So that's one of the reasons why I think it's important that everybody have a voice in this and see what we can do to combat the addiction crisis we're in order to find solutions that actually work, right? Alrighty, so we got a lot of information coming up for you guys, so stay with us, we're gonna be right back. Hi everybody, this is Carol Michelle with Rockin' Recovery, and today we're going on the road in another segment that we like to call Jeepin' It Real. So,
right, we want to be thinking about those things, right? As we're kind of rolling through today, we want to think about who doesn't know about us. We actually did a meet and greet earlier this month, August 5th, at the DePaul facility out on Buffalo Road here in Rochester, New York. And there was about 60 people that showed up from the west as well as from the east and from Monroe County. And there was a lot of energy in the room. We even had local politicians that showed up and really expressed an interest in seeing our recovery community-based organization grow
So what did you get out of the meeting today?
Oh, I got a lot of information in regards to building from the bottom to the top. Okay, I learned that communication is a very important tool, right, to the success of what you're trying to do. And also that I learned that we don't have to do this alone. We can work as a team, and we can accomplish a lot more and quicker.
Very nice. Great.
So today here at the Core Center, we want to thank them for hosting our first training of many in regards to building an RCO from the ground up. I came here today as the facilitator of this workshop, looking to inform, introduce, inform, and inspire. And I was the one walking away inspired from this workshop today in regards to the participation that we had. And we're looking forward to doing a follow-up meeting at 1350 Buffalo Road on September 19th at 6 p.m. And we hope that you will join us because we are looking forward to building the recovery movement in the Rochester and surrounding communities.
Nice.
It was a good meeting. I listened a lot and just tried to collect my thoughts. And my thoughts is that we need to be determined. We need to redouble our efforts and not get discouraged. It's easy to get discouraged, but this meeting was kind of upbeat, and it had its upbeat points and it had its lower points. But I feel I came out of this meeting with a greater determination to accomplish the things I'm trying to do through Recovery House.
Awesome.
I would like to see our membership grow so that we can do more activities in the community to serve people under recovery.
So Carlee, what did you think of those interviews from the people at the Recovery Community Organization?
Thought they went well. Think they were naturals.
Yeah, right? Great job, everybody. Van did a great job putting forth the training. And I know that whenever I go to a training like that, I'm going to walk away with something. I'm going to learn something that I didn't know going in, right? And it makes me feel better. I like to learn things. How about you?
Me too.
And there's always so much to learn.
There is.
Yes. But one of the things that we like to focus on in this show is the hope of recovery.
Yes.
So if there's anybody out there who's using drugs, or if you're a family member who's watching somebody else go down that horrible road of destruction, remember that there's a way out, there's hope. You can break the chains of addiction and go on to find a beautiful life in recovery. So can you share with us a little bit about your hope for today?
Well, when I think recovery, I think freedom. And I think that, you have a freedom to do anything you want. Literally anything you want. I didn't have that freedom when I was using. It was always, what am I going to do to get the next high? What am I going to do to get outside of myself or change how I'm feeling? And I couldn't just sit with me, and I didn't have the freedom to just be who I was. And I think that in recovery, I'm able to just, free to be me type of thing. And it's cool because we were just talking yesterday I was at a meeting, and we were talking about friendships in recovery and how we can make friends now, and it's not so much one-sided friendships, but it's like a two-way street. And it got me thinking oh my gosh, I wasn't a very good friend to people, and now I am a good friend. I'd like to think I'm a good friend to people. If you're watching and I'm not a good friend to you, I'm sorry. But it's cool because I always thought that I needed to be like you, or I needed to change who I was to fit in, or you weren't gonna like me because I was too nervous or too self-conscious of things that were going on with myself. And it's all that self-absorbed self-centeredness. Everybody's eyes are on me. I need to be perfect, and nobody cares. And I think I have freedom today, and there's a freedom in in being in recovery, where I can truly be myself, and it gets easier. Like, in early recovery, it was very hard because I was still trying to like please people and like be like you because I wanted you to like me, and slowly but surely there was a little bit more hope at the end of the tunnel, where it was like, oh, I'm gonna be okay with myself eventually. Like, I'm going to get to a point where I can just sit with myself and like be still and enjoy time with Carlee. And I do. You're the one who told me to do. I'm telling you, you told me block out Carlee time, block out me time, and I do that now. I do that today, where on my schedule or like in my head, if I don't like put it on my calendar, I'll just schedule some me time and just sit with myself and be okay. And it's a good little check-in, like personal check-in.
You know, I laugh at that because when people used to say to carve out some time for yourself, I would do that, and then I would use that time to catch up on my laundry or to do, you know, chores around the house or to make the phone calls that I didn't make before. And like I didn't get it. You know what I mean?
But sometimes I think we get a little lost with self-care. Like, I think especially my generation has this idea of, oh, self-care is putting a bath bomb in the water and putting a face mask on and doing a hair mask and
going to the spa.
And that's not always self-care. Sometimes self-care looks like catching up on laundry. Like, sometimes self-care looks like cleaning your house, you know? I mean, whatever declutters your life and like makes you feel a little more at peace. Like, that's what self-care is, at least for me. Yeah. Like, I find some self-care when I do laundry. I love folding clothes.
Do you? Come over. I don't like that part. So, I agree with you. And I know that for me, like, this conversation we have right now was totally not conceivable to me when I was stuck in my addiction, and in the very early part of my recovery, I'd be like, what the heck are you talking about? You know, how am I going to get through the rest of the day? So our perception changes, you know, a whole new world just opens up to us because we do have that freedom now.
Yeah.
Right? Good stuff, Carlee. Good stuff.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, stay with us. We're going to be back.